control. Breach in 5, 4, 3.
What's up, guys? It's Uncle Freedom coming to you on another glorious and well-deserved day off. It was a day off. I was called about an hour ago and told I was going to be working overnight tonight. So not a day off. It's all right, though, man. I like being a cop. I like helping people at school. But today we're going to do a video that is a long time in the making, and that is the real cost of building out a duty handgun, my optimized duty handgun for me, for law enforcement, but not only for law enforcement. So when I elected to start down this path, I made some decisions in the beginning, which were, I not only wanted a handgun that was very capable duty. It needed to be 9mm. I needed it to have optics capability. I wanted it to have a full-size grip, but I also wanted to be able to carry it off-duty, concealed in an appendix holster. It's a lot of things we're asking for this to do. Now, I've done it before. For those of you that have been around for a minute, you'll recognize this guy. This is my Gen 3 Glock 22 with a Mod Light PL350. This guy's got some aftermarket stuff done to it, but I carried this gun concealed all the time in a Filster floodlight. All firearms are clear. I'm in an area of my house and the shop in which I work on firearms, dry fire, and reload ammunition. So, thanks, YouTube. Anyway, so that was kind of what I went into when I built it. I wanted an upgrade and enhanced capability from what I was already carrying. I wanted 9mm because that's more capacity. And I needed it to be concealable, even under a t-shirt. So the base gun I elected to go with, I looked at 47s, 49s, and the 45. I went with the Glock. We're clear. Gen 5 45. Right? So that Gen 5 45 is denoted by the fact that we have a 17 size grip length, which is 17 rounds, and then a Glock 19 length slide, which means that I have roughly a 4-inch barrel. Now, this gave me some options out of the gate because of new things that have come out, like that Radian Ramjet, that are very different. So, but I knew I needed an optic. So that left me, initially, I was looking at buying the gun and the optic I had selected. However, Primary Arms was doing the Talos edition of the Glock 45. The Talos edition is direct cut for the Aimpoint Acro. That's awesome. No plates, as God intended. However, looking at this, I was like, all right, I know what we're going to do. I know where I want to go. And I had already picked my optic. I knew I wanted to go with the Aimpoint Acro P2. Now, the reason being, it's not for everybody. Yes, it's a microwave on my Glock. However, for me, who does not get a choice of whether it's raining, snowing, sleeting, dusty, winds blowing crap everywhere, I don't get a choice. And my firearm is exposed to all of those because it's carried externally, especially at work. So I figured my best option was to go with an enclosed emitter dot. Now, I looked at the Steiner MPS. I looked at the Holosun 509T, the EPS, the RCR, was a thing at the time. And I love Aimpoint, man. Like, I trust Aimpoint. I think they're great. Now, every single one of the enclosed emitters had some kind of a hiccup. Something stupid has happened to them, but that's going to happen as we proliferate these things all over the world and where everybody starts really running the crap out of them. However, one of the videos that really made me take a hard look at the Acro and really consider it was, one, Mil-Spec Mojo, because we all know he is about that microwave life. And I respect Mojo's opinions. I don't know him at all, but I do. He is a phenomenal shooter, and I respect his opinions on these things. And then the other one was Aaron Cowan of Sage Dynamics. Now, I've trained with Aaron a long time ago, and I also didn't live where I live. I was not a cop at the time, but Aaron really understands red dots. And for that guy to give it a golden seal of approval, that's all I need, right? So I went with the Acro P2. I love this thing. I adore it. The Acro P2 has way better battery life, 2032 battery, incredibly durable mounting solution. It's just awesome. Like, I fell in love with this, man. I've got RMRs, I've got Holosuns. I fell in love with this. I have more than one of them now because it's just freaking awesome. So Acro set me back $600. So the cost of the gun, let's say the cost of the gun, the Talos cut version of this gun was about $600. The optic was about $600. So it's $1,200 and we have a firearm, right, with an optic sighting system. I have to have a light. It is a requirement per department policy that we have a full-size weapon light. We do not allow TLR7s. TLR7s are not a duty light. Stop telling people they are. They're not a duty light. For me, that means there's really only a couple of options. I love X300s. Clearly, I love the PL350. And I love, hey, there's one over here. And I love the TLR1. I like full-size lights. I've been concealed carrying a full-size light because my option to the fact that it's dark and I need a light is I need more light. Now, people argue the light thing a lot, and we actually have a very dedicated video coming up where I'm going to walk you guys through a portion of a low light class I teach for law enforcement. We're going to discuss all manner of things in that. What we're going to do, comparisons of handgun lights, pistol lights. We're going to show why some of these smaller pistol lights just aren't cut out for what we need to do. You know, it works great on a pitch black range where there's no ambient lighting, but the second I put a flashlight pointed off angle at you, you suddenly can't see anything because your light doesn't have the power to cut through it. I work in a very rural area on a major human trafficking and drug trafficking pipeline. We get problems. And at any given point, I may have to reach out and see at 60 or 100 yards and have my gun out because we're in that situation. So for me, I was like, you know what? I love the idea of being able to use A cells, which are disposable batteries. So CR123s. I also run rechargeable CR123s. But having the ability of 60,000 plus candela and over 600 lumens in the new X300 Turbo sold me, right? Game on, all about that. And this thing is a beast. So the Turbo versus the X300. So I have two here. This is a standard X300U, the U-boat. This is an X300 Turbo, another one. There are a couple of things. Now, if you look down inside of the bezel here versus here, this bezel goes all the way back. The light reflector goes all the way down to here. And then on this one, it goes down to about here. So that increase in reflector depth is going to give me the performance I'm looking for. I also went with the B model, which is the thumb screw, the T-screw here versus Surefire's quick release, quick disconnect version. It's awesome. Now, the X300, is it bad? No, it's absolutely a great light, but it's a really great light inside of structures. When I need a whole bunch of light to light up an area, not so much if I need to punch with light or control people with light. And you do that with candela, something we'll cover in the video. So the X300 Turbo is what I chose. That's a $300 light. Now, for those of you that do support the channel, you check out things like my link in the description. I am an affiliate for Palmetto State Armory and Primary Arms. Both of those companies have sold X300Us and X300 Turbos below $240 in the last month. You can get an X300 for cheaper money. X300s are also kind of a universal fit light for holsters. You can use, it's very easy to find them. So next up for me, I've got an optic and I've got a light. Now, I hate Glock's placeholder sights. I've said this before. They're placeholders. So for something like this, though, I needed higher sights so that I could coat in this. Now, here's the thing. Is this a necessity in an age where optics are incredibly durable? Not really. I would also tell you in an area where we jacked up this lens and we can't see through it, your sights don't matter either because you can't see through the optics, so it doesn't matter. So what I went with on mine were the Ameriglow blacked out backup sights. I love these. It's actually one of the cheapest options you can do, but I love them because I don't like having an additional focal point on the front of my gun when I'm looking through glass where I'm staring like through a dot. Something else to divide my attention is a bad idea. So for my Ameriglow blacked out sights on this guy, we're looking about $45. Next up for me is triggers and connectors. Now, for those of you that don't know, the Glock trigger system is, here's your trigger. And then there's a connector right here. That connector is responsible for some of the pull weight. It's also responsible for how smooth and where your wall is and when it breaks in a Glock trigger system. I do not recommend dicking around with Glock's trigger bars because Glocks are really safe. And the minute we start screwing around with things, they become very unsafe and very unreliable. So there are some options that are approved by numerous agencies out there. And again, the name of the game for this is it has to work for me. It's got to work. Otherwise, it's freaking useless, right? It would sure suck to die in a gunfight in which I had a Gucci'd out gun that suddenly malfunctioned. So that connector I went with for this guy was the Overwatch Precision minus connector. So that's technically a 3.5 pound connector. No, it doesn't drop your trigger weight by 3.5 pounds. But what it did was it cleaned up that kind of gritty, stagey feeling of a Glock factory trigger because it is MP3 coated. It's very, very smooth. There's very little friction. So that's what it was. So I went with that. I don't like factory Glock triggers though. I do not like that curved radius stuff. I don't like the little the drop safety on there because I can feel it. It seems really stupid, but it's true. So what I went with is an Agency Arms flat-faced trigger. So my actual trigger safety, this maintains all the original safeties of the Glock. Again, very important. But when I depress this trigger and hit that safety, it's flat. I can't feel that safety at all. And what I got, Jesus, what I get with that factory or with that Overwatch Precision trigger bar and this trigger is I get a flat wall, 90 degrees break. So when I actually tested this guy out, this tests out through 10 pulls with an average weight of 4.48 pounds. Pretty good. I can live with that. So 4.48 pounds because I replaced a trigger and a trigger bar. So the Overwatch Precision disconnector is going to be about 20 bucks. And you add that to the Agency Arms trigger, which is about $150. Though I can tell you right now, Primary Arms are on sale for $106. So now that I've done that, what are some other things that I wanted to change? Well, personally, I had never run into this issue really with Glocks, but I was having a problem with this one because of how my grip sits on this firearm. I was bumping the slide stop, and either I wasn't getting lock back or I was getting premature lock back when I was firing the gun. That's bad. That's not, I don't like that. So what I elected to go with here was something that, because it's ambidextrous, to raise it up and move it back. And what that led me to was the Cogworks raised and extended slide stop. Cogworks is a fantastic company, man. They're great trainers. They make some really cool stuff, and it's made by shooters, you can tell, because the reason they're making this stuff is for guys that shoot, because we're screwing ourselves up on normal Glock ergonomics. But that's what I went with. The only thing I'll say about this Cogworks slide stop, and one's in the back, it is a phenomenal piece of kit. It's $54. But I had to take 1911 stones, which are ceramic stones, to the inside of this because it had some kind of overhang from the plating process, and it was grinding on the slide of the firearm. It wasn't doing any damage to the firearm, and quite frankly, this isn't a safe queen. I beat the snot out of this. But I could feel it, and that is a no, sir. I don't know. That's nails on a chalkboard to me, so I took those ceramic stones, took this off the gun, and filed that down, and I've had no issues since. Didn't impact it. It was just some finish that had gotten hung up on there. So for me, the Cogworks at $54. Next up, the part everybody seems to get confused about. I have had this firearm referred to as the modern Roland Special. Take that as you will. The guy that invented the Roland Special is a gentleman by the name of Chuck Pressburg. Runs PressJet Consulting. His original version was an RMR X300 with a KKM match barrel and compensator. It sticked about that far off the gun, right? This, Radian did a great job at this. So Radian gave us a unthreaded, self-timing, match-grade barrel with our comp holes at the top, a compensator that is milled out per gen to go around the front of your slide, decreases your felt recoil and recoil impulse tremendously. Doesn't cause malfunctions, runs with 115 grain full metal jacket range ammo, runs even better if you run hotter stuff in it, but it only increased the length of this Gen 5 45 to that of a Glock 17. Money. Good job, Radian. They also just released their one for the Glock 17, Glock 47, Glock 49. I might do one of those too. Though I think my next one's actually going to be a KKM cop for my Glock 22 because that would just be freaking cool. But I love this compensator because it self-times. I don't have to use shims. I don't have to use Loctite. It's got a taper threaded screw into it. It looks freaking awesome. The milling that is done to get between the slide itself and the comp, this looks factory done. I can also take it off, service the firearm when I need to. The barrel is incredibly accurate. I don't have any problems with that though. But there is a problem with this comp, and that is the fact that it is $390. That's right, you heard that. $390. However, you don't just get the comp for $390, you're getting the comp and a match barrel at the same time. Barrel's been ultimately reliable, accurate, and I am impressed with it all the same. So something that gets changed on every Glock is the mag release, because I have a problem with not being able to engage in the mag release when I want to. I have used them from tons of companies. I've used Hive Technologies. I've used Vigors. I've used Vickers. I've used Tyrant. The one I went with for this guy, because, well, I went agency. So I went with the Agency Arms mag release. Now, the mag release I have is the Gen 4 mag release. Still works just fine on the Gen 5. But I get a little bit of a different profile. The way it sticks up here, I have very positive purchase. It actually catches my thumb. You can hear that. And allows me to drop that mag very, very fast. I like it. It's also aluminum, which I like. But that agency mag release is going to set you back about $37. So my next thing, because I fell in love with my Tyrant magwells, man, was having a good magwell. And again, I had to think hard about this because this was also going to be a concealed carry firearm for me, right? So what did I decide to do? That is the SLR Rifle Works No Half Moon Gen 5 45 magwell short. I talked to the guys on the phone at SLR Rifle Works because there is a not short version and a short version, and they were like, well, if you have giant hands, get the short. So that is what I did. The connection on this guy is this tiny little screw that's very flat, doesn't get in your way. The only downfall of these is you cannot use these if you run back straps on the firearm. I don't. But I love this. I can feel this in my hand as it cinches my hand up on here. I can leverage off of that, and this is just a vice now because of the way this magwell is designed. Another good part about this magwell, I have really great flare. Now, the Gen 5s already have kind of a built-in magwell, so I now have an enhanced version of that already pretty decent magwell. So this mates up with its funnel directly to the funnel that already exists, and I mean, this is just awesome. However, you're going to pay for it. It's about $100 to get your hands on an SLR Rifle Works magwell. They're awesome, though. I'm ultra impressed. So next up for me, y'all know I like mag extensions. Specifically, I like Warren's mag extensions. These guys are an affiliate of the channel. You can order them direct from Warren. They're awesome. These are the +5 base plates. I run 3 of them because I run them on duty. So what that gives me is a +5 capability. So now instead of a 17 round mag, I have a 22 round mag. So that means that I have 67 rounds on my body, including the runs in the chamber. I like that. That's awesome. So I do those magwells now, or those mag extensions. Now, what's that mean? I buy 3 of them. They're about $55 a piece. The one good part about Warren is Warrens do come with the enhanced spring on the inside so that you actually get better and consistent feeding. You don't have an underpowered spring. You have a spring that's properly powered for that mag with the +5 on it. Love that. They add some weight. They look freaking fantastic. They're tough. I really like them. Warren, that's my choice for mag extensions. Has been for a while. But about $55 a piece. And then I buy some other stuff. I need more magazines. I do this with every gun. I've harped on this before. I buy at least 7. So this time I did buy 7. I bought 7 factory Glock 17 mags. Actually, I bought all, this is one that came with the gun. I bought all like OD green because that's cool. And they're about $25 a piece. Glocks are notorious for having a really stably priced magazine, but I did buy 7 of them at $25 a piece. So that's $175 that I spent, adding to the $165 I just spent on mag extensions. Now comes the part that I harp on people about, and that is, to carry this on duty, this has to be a proven, reliable firearm with everything I've done to it. Make no mistake, changing things like connectors, triggers, compensators, make things like this less reliable because we're altering what already worked. That means it's got to work. How do I determine if something works? Well, if you watch the concealed carry one, you know that I I go and I shoots. I got to shoot because I got to make sure it works. However, I shoot more because this is a duty firearm. This is a firearm that not only am I going to carry off duty, I'm also going to carry, and if the worst day happens when I'm on shift, I have something that I know is vetted. So what does that mean for me? That means 1,000 rounds of Full Metal Jacket ball ammo. That is 124 grain blazer. That is what I shot. For those of you that haven't picked up on this, I buy the vast, overwhelming majority of my ammunition from barely.com, also an affiliate of the channel. Link, it supports the channel. Doesn't cost you any more. But I bought 1,000 rounds, 124 grain blazer. That ran me $260 shipped to my door. Well, then there's another part of it. Now we're going to switch over to a different kind of Full Metal Jacket, and that is 124 grain NATO spec ammo. And I'm going to shoot 250 rounds of that at a not so friendly pace count. Like, it is a hot, run it hard, shoot the gun, see if something breaks pace count. So 250 rounds of that, another $80. Well, then after that, I'm going to take 100 rounds of whatever my preferred duty ammo is. And for those of you that have been under a rock or don't know what my preferred duty ammo is, that is my preferred duty ammo. 135 grain critical duty plus P. My stuff comes in 50 packs. Yes, that's cool and convenient. I shoot 100 rounds of my duty ammo because if it's going to get carried on duty, it's got to freaking work. So I'm going to shoot 100 rounds of it on duty. Oh man, the comp was sweet with that ammo too. Just not awesome stuff. That's going to cost me another 80 bucks. Well, now I'm going to do a mixed bag of hollow points. What do I mean by mixed bag of hollow points? 124 plus P critical or gold dot, 124 regular pressure gold dot, 147 gold dot, 147 HSTs, 124 plus P HSTs, 124 grain plus P Hydra Shocks, 124 grain plus P or 115 grain plus P plus Ranger. The original 9mm BPLE load, the highway patrol load for the Tennessee, which is 115 grain high shock, doing plus P plus, moving at Mach. Jesus, that stuff's hot and it hurts when you shoot it. 100 rounds. I basically take that ammo and I dump it in a bag. I shake the bag up and I load my magazines. 10 mags loaded to 10 rounds, and I run it back to back to back. And you can see stuff grouped in different places too. It's kind of cool. And then after that's done, now I have to qualify on this or I can't carry it. So the standard state qual for my state is 50 rounds. So I call an additional firearms instructor to come out to the range with me. I load up my magazines for my actual protocol that I need. I start at the 3-yard line, end back around the 25, and I shoot my state qual because that says I can carry this on duty. That's at the end of what I am doing, which means with that last 50 rounds that we've shot, I have just put 1,500 rounds through this firearm, and it cannot, here's the other part of this. If I have more than 2 malfunctions that are not ammo related, the gun is unreliable. I will not frickin' run it. If I got ammo malfunctions, that could be an ammo problem. But if this thing starts choking on stuff, not going to happen. I'm not going to run it. Period. I'm going to start changing things because I got to figure out what went wrong. So what does that mean this cost? What does it really cost to do this? Well, if you're paying attention to the numbers that have been flashing below your screen, the cost for this handgun minus the ammunition cost and holsters is $3,196. That's right. Used to be a used car when I was 16. $3,100, not in a good used car at that. $3,196 is the cost of this firearm as it sits with my additional magazines, not including my ammo cost for shooting it to get it done. If I add the ammo cost to this, or that includes the ammo cost. Now, my total expense in ammo that I did to do this was $507. That's how much money I spent in ammo to vet this guy out. That is why I consider it to be a cost of the firearm. Let's say you don't run that ammunition thing and you just want the parts and pieces that I built out here. Well, you're looking at $2,689 to build this. Ta-da, as you see. But there's still a missing piece. Anybody know what it is? It's got a dot on it. It means I got to change holsters. Fact. And I plan on carrying it off duty, so I got to have 2 holsters. So I went with a Safariland. Tried and true, though. You should see the new Alien Gear V3. Good God, it's fast. And y'all are going to get a full view of that thing coming up. It is awesome. So I went with Safariland. So we're looking at about $160 for my duty holster. And for my concealed carry holster, you guys have seen this in another video. This is the Tenacor Malice Soul. I'll leave a link to the video I did on this holster. I adore this thing. This holster conceals this firearm, 0 problems in appendix, under a t-shirt. That's fact, man. Good holsters matter. And Tennecore makes some of the best. So give those guys over at Tennecore a look if you're looking for it. But that means the full send for this firearm, including my ammunition to train and get it vetted, including my holsters that I needed to run it on duty and off. My total expense in getting this firearm, turning it into what it is, proving and vetting its reliability, qualifying on it, and then having the holster to carry it in, $3,476. True cost, building out a duty gun to my specs and my reliability standards, $3,476. Is it worth it? Maybe not to you. Damn sure is to me. So guys, hope you enjoyed that. I've been waiting to do this breakdown. I will give a shout out though to SLR Rifle Works. So SLR Rifle Works sent out this. I bought this, by the way. They sent it out to my house, and USPS did what USPS does, which meant I got an empty box with my packing list. Sent them an email. 5 minutes later, I got an email back. And like 2 days later, I had this. This came in today. Isn't that cool? SLR, man, they took care of me. I appreciate what they did. That was awesome. And it came with a sticker, which is pretty dope. So guys, I am Uncle Freedom. What is your ideal duty gun? You build that out. What is your cost? Again, if you're looking to get in touch with me, I'll flash it on the bottom again at Uncle Freedom 213, Facebook and Instagram, Uncle Freedom 213 at outlook.com. Again, check that link if you want to support the channel. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Until next time, I'll see you later.